To answer your question, yes, we are two adult women. And yes, we love Bieber, and that's why we're publicly stalking him.
We're crazy.
Hey! Maybe he's what America needs. One nation under Biebs. We're gonna be two less lonely girls. We're gonna be two less lonely girls. We love Justin Bieber, and let us be clear, we're not being ironic at all.
Hosted by Corinne Fisher and Rosebud Baker.
Welcome back, everybody, to Two Less Lonely Girls. I'm Corinne Fisher. I'm here solo today. Rosebud Baker is in London with, and this is her words, not mine, her new love. She did say that on the podcast. I almost stopped recording right then and said this business relationship is over, but but here we are. Today we have a very special guest. He's a mutual friend and colleague of both Rosebud and mine, but Rosebud did set this up as if we were children going on a play date, which I think, we both appreciate. We leaned in.
Yeah.
So he's a comedian and a podcaster himself. Please welcome to the show, MIKE FEENEY.
Hey. Thank you for having me. Yeah, Rosebud was very mom-like in that.
Yeah.
She was like, you two, put us in a group chat. You two, get together, record your little stories.
Well, she didn't ask me. She told me. She just sent me the picture of you meeting, the man of the hour, and she said, "Well, we have next week's episode," and then later told me I won't be there for it.
Right?
But,
yeah.
And that's fine. I'm comfortable with that. Honestly, a trip to the UK beats anything. Okay, so you met Justin Bieber. How long ago was this? We need all the details.
This is 1 week ago. I mean, this is all super fresh still. And here's the thing. Every time I go to Los Angeles, for some reason, I run into a famous person. And I know that's a very this is a LA thing, but I've lived in New York 12 years. I never see celebrities ever anywhere for any reason. And we're all so close together, so you'd think we'd see more. But every time it was I became good friends with Anne Heche. One time I was out there and
Wait, you became good friends with her?
Good friends. I'm not even exaggerating when I say good friends.
But you are you not good friends anymore?
No, we just we have different work schedules. We're on different coasts, but we try to make time.
Okay, so this is amazing. So how did that happen?
Okay, so I was doing this excellent show in LA called Hot Tub, and I was out there.
Yeah.
I was out there with Mike Cannon and Brendan Sagalow. We were just kind of doing a stand-up trip out there. And when I did Hot Tub, she was in the audience, and she came up to me after the show, and she was like, "Hello, I'm Anne Heche," and I was like, "I know Anne," and then she was like, "I'm Anne Heche, and I loved your set, and let me buy you a drink because I'm Anne Heche," and I was like, "All right, Anne Heche." So we ended up drinking for the rest of the night with her and her manager and Brendan and Mike and I. We just had a great time, and then she proceeded to come to 2 more shows that I did that week and loved the three of us. She invited me and Mike and Brendan to her house where we recorded an episode of my podcast, Irish Goodbye Podcast. She did the podcast. Then she was like, "Let's go," and she took us to the Los Angeles Tennis Club, which is this high-end, members only exclusive place where we swam in the pool with her kid, who is she is this beautiful, this kid is a blonde-haired movie star in the making, blue-eyed, we're swimming with this kid, we're drinking booze, we're having a great time. She's super cool, super chill. She's everything you heard about Anne Heche. It's all she's very eccentric and wild, but so fascinating in the best way possible,
Oh my God.
And then when she just had a movie come out, I think earlier this year, which was some big, giant release, and she came to New York to promote, and then she came by and did our podcast again and stuff. So she's, but yeah, we love her because she was such a fun hang. But so all of this to say is, that's what happens to me when I'm in LA. It's
that
just
is great.
Weird experiences like that,
Yeah, that's why I love LA as a place that you can go and kind of escape and be in this wacky world where you become friends with Anne Heche.
Yes.
I don't know if I could handle it 24 hours a day though.
No, it was one of those things where we're kind of oh, okay, you get the last time. So that was 2 times ago I was in LA, and then the last time I was in LA before this immediate trip, I ended up in a diner at 3 a.m. with Drew Carey. You know what I mean? Which is just
These
a weird.
are good names too.
Yeah, and they're just, and it sounds so LA and douchey to be like name dropping these people.
No, you
but
don't
it's
live
like,
there, so it's fine. It's
Yes.
cute when New Yorkers do it. It's
Yes.
obnoxious when LA people do
Yes.
it. This is whimsical.
So it's just like, and Drew Carey's like the man. He's so cool. And he's like, he's talking about him doing like, and this isn't me sharing too much because he has talked about this before, but him like going to like, EDM concerts and like doing Molly and just like, why? Like you don't picture him as the Price is Right guy.
He's wild because my ex who is in Corn, who I was just telling you about, and we'll
Yeah.
get into your love of
we gotta
that.
talk in the Corn.
But one of his friends dated Marilyn Manson and then rebounded from Marilyn Manson with Drew Carey. And I go, that is a weird move.
Yeah.
But now knowing more about him, this
Yeah.
makes sense.
And he was so cool. And I wasn't even with other comics. I was like with his friends. It just in this weird way that this worked out. But you have that moment when you're like, I'm at a diner with Drew Carey right now at 3 a.m. But then it was one of those things where after like an hour or two, the celebrity of him wears off and it's just kind of like another guy. And then I do remember at one point.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah, at one point, yeah, exactly. You start noticing things that irk you. You're like, you're laughing at your own jokes too much. But then you do a thing where you're like, I don't know any of these other people. And it kind of got to that point where I'm like, I think I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to leave this experience, But so all of that to say, this most recent time I go to LA, people were teasing me like, oh, who are you going to meet this time? And I was like, whatever, we'll see where the wind takes me. It is my first hour in Los Angeles. I land at the airport and and I got some time to kill before I can check into my Airbnb. So I reach out to Tim Dillon, who we both, love and who lives there now. And
of course. And he makes it really apparent.
Yes.
Just really rubs it in that he lives there now and he's better than us.
Yes. Oh, I know. If you didn't know, he'll let you know.
I love it.
Me too. So I text him where I should go get some food. He recommends this place in Beverly Hills. So I take an Uber right there and I got my bag and I'm like way underdressed. I'm realizing now for this place. It's very like swanky and.
Do you remember the name of the restaurant?
Yeah, it's in the Beverly Hills Hotel. So it's in like so it's like, you walk in, it's like this giant red carpet with all these pictures of, Marilyn Manson and, Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Monroe. Different. Yeah. That's a different place.
Well, Marilyn Manson's name is inspired by Marilyn Monroe.
I can see that.
It's Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Is that true?
Yeah, all the people in the band have the name of like a starlet and a serial killer mixed together.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And I
Yep.
never realized that. And somebody just made a fan art today of me as the Marilyn Manson cover where he's genitalialess, which is wild.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. But so whatever. So I go to this hotel. I go downstairs. There's this nice little, it's almost like a coffee, you remember like those old school coffee shops where you sit at the counter, they make like the griddle and everything there. So this place is very small, probably has 20 seats.
Oh, wow.
And the only seats left are in the back corner. There's 4 empty seats. So I sit back there and I'm by myself and I'm just kind of like, I'm texting with my wife about whatever and I'm going to the menu, $25 sandwiches, for like a corned beef sandwich, just way over LA, baby.
Of course.
So I'm sitting there and then this woman walks in and immediately I don't recognize her because nobody's reacting to her, and I see her and I just texted my wife and I said word for word, I go, I don't know who just walked in, but I know that she's super famous. And this wasn't even like I recognize her. It was just like the way she's carrying herself.
Famous people have a look.
Yes, they have an aura. There's a beauty. I mean, the level, she's absolutely beautiful, So she comes, sits down 2 seats next to me. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, one of the counter guys comes over and he does like, is he joining you? And I was like, he. And then, 2 minutes later, the Biebs fucking walks in and sits down. That's when I put it together. I'm like, oh my God, that's Haley. And then now I'm like laughing because I'm not freaking out, but I'm laughing so much. It's just like, I can't believe I am within a foot of Justin Bieber and Haley within an hour of being in LA. It's
classic
like, this is
Feeny.
Classic Feeny, right? So I'm sitting there and like, they are, again, and I want to preface all this by saying, like, I don't know anything about their personal relationship, how they're doing. This is just an outsider's observation. I'm not casting stones or aspersions, but he came in and he had looked like he had quite a rough night the night before, whatever it was.
That's kind of his look. I mean, I think even when he doesn't have rough nights, he looks like he had a rough night. Like, you know how the Olsen twins kind of always look like they did a lot of intravenous drugs? And then went shopping at like some kind of a homeless flea market.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. He also does that. He has way too much acne for anyone in his financial bracket.
So much acne. And you, it's weird too, because she is like, Haley is breathtaking.
She is breathtaking. She's truly like, but it's breathtaking in like the girl next door amplified to 1,000. I think just like because of the way she dresses with her kind of like athleisure. Yes, you know, a little Ricky Velez.
But she's like, but she was like camera ready. You know what I mean? Like, if she was
she's
ready,
born camera ready. She's breathtaking.
Yeah. So so all of a sudden I was like, okay, I get the attraction here of her.
And she's legs for days.
Yeah, and she's so like she's being super sweet to the staff and everything, and then he comes in and he's got like, you know, the big yellow hoodie. I mean, it's all his new, you know, clothing line. Yeah, Drew.
House of Drew.
So he's got like a giant yellow hoodie on, and he's, you know, baggy clothes, and he kind of just comes in, sits down, doesn't even really say a word or two to her, and then for a while they're just on their phone, and I mean, like, nobody's saying anything. They're not even speaking to one another to where there's like a palpable tension. And I'm sitting over here going like, I can't believe. So I text Rosebud, the first person, before my wife and Rosebud are the two people I text. I go,
of course.
I texted her 911 because as people that may or may not know Rosebud, she is a person who will either text you 1,000 texts in a row, or she'll just throw her phone into the ocean for days at a time, and then she'll write back eventually. So I needed her attention, so I was like, 911. She immediately is like, I'm getting on a plane. What is it? I was like, you won't believe who I'm sitting next to. And she's like, that's it. I'm buying Wi-Fi for this flight. And it's like, which you were going to buy it anyway.
Right.
But then she's immediately like, oh my God. So I kind of like weirdly took a really hip level kind of candid shot just to show her, to prove to her that I'm sitting next to them. She's losing her mind. She's immediately like, tell him you're a Christian. She starts feeding me.
Tell him you're a Christian.
She starts telling me.
Honestly, that would be the way in, though, to just start talking religion, like never celebrity stuff. They would hate that.
Oh, no. Yeah. So I'm sitting there just like, I'm like laughing to myself, and I'm seeing him, you know, like he's also got a beanie cap on with like the hood up, and he's doing a thing where he's not stopping moving, even though he's sitting in a chair. If that means, you know, he's got a knee bounce. He's rubbing his face a lot, like full face rubs, like he just woke up.
That's why he has the acne.
Yeah. You gotta wash. You gotta have clean hands. Don't touch your hands.
You can't touch your face.
Yeah. So he's doing a face rub. He keeps putting his head like on the counter, like a kid taking a nap in school at a desk. It wasn't. And she, meanwhile, is just poised, composed. They order some eggs together. He puts, in my opinion, a little too much ketchup on the eggs, you know?
Of course he does, because he's white trash.
Yes, yeah. Well,
or Canadian trash.
And here's the thing where I go, I think this, you can tell he got famous as a child because, and this is not even saying in a disrespectful way, like he eats like a child.
Yeah,
like
he doesn't have like the full skill set.
No, he eats like 2 inches from the plate, like shoveling kind of a thing.
Yep.
And he still hadn't spoke yet. And then he did, because he wanted to ask for whatever, you know, some cream for his coffee or something. But the way his voice, you just don't picture to come out of that body, because again, it's like acne, like, you know, he's a little like, you know, he's not looking great, and he just has that like, could I have cream, please? It's like that boyish with a hint of gravel in there.
Yeah.
And then I texted Rosebud. I was like, oh, I get it now. I get the obsession.
You were aroused?
It was a little aroused. Like, it was just, you're like, oh, it's such like an innocent, it's almost like that Michael Jackson kind of softness.
Yeah.
With like still like the, oh, I know when you sing, it's gotta be, you know, incredible live, you know what I mean, or whatever. So
who did you feel more fame from?
Actually, from her, to be honest. Because
I thought that would be the answer, yeah.
Yeah, because again, he was also, and there were little girls sitting in the restaurant too, so, you know, maybe a part of it wasn't that he had a rough night, maybe a part of it is he was just trying to keep a low profile and kept like covering his face and stuff, and maybe that's it, because I can't even imagine the hell that they must be in a constant, they're always in a surveillance state to the max, right?
You could also not wear your own merch though. That's
that's
exactly. Just, that helps a little bit.
Yeah. So they get done. He gets done eating, And I mean, the second he takes his last bite, he just turns to her and was like, "Are you done?" Which she was not done. She had so much food left, like all of her food essentially, because he ate it in like 3 seconds. And he's like, "Are you done?" And then she just kind of was like, "All right, I guess I'll, kind of be done." So they start to like get the check and everything. And Rosebud's like, "That's it. Like you gotta get a picture. You gotta ask for a picture." And I am not. I've never asked a celebrity in my life to take a picture of them. It's like the most embarrassing thing ever. I was like, I would never do this. And then I'm texting my wife at the same time, and she's threatening divorce if I don't get a picture. She's like, "If you don't get this, we're through. I'm dead. This is crazy." And I'm like, so I got her and Rosebud both being like, "Just do it. Just ask for the picture." So I'm like, God damn it. So I finish my meal around the same time they do. They pay the check. I pay the check. And they're starting to like almost get coats on, and I really almost regret doing it, but I did it. And I was like, "Hey," I was like, "Listen, man, I don't want to be this guy, but I'd probably regret it if I didn't ask, if I could just get a quick picture with you guys." And immediately from this like palpable tension of them not speaking, it's not saying 2 words to each other, and him seeming like he's having a rough morning, just turned it on. Just immediately.
Oh, okay,
big
good.
smile. She's smiling at me. She's like, "Of course."
I mean, not mentally healthy, but good,
no.
Good for you.
Yes, they know how to turn it on.
Right. They're famous for a reason.
Yes, exactly. He's like, "Absolutely, man, get in here." And he like comes over, he puts his arm on me, he's rubbing my shoulder as we're taking the picture.
Honestly, they're probably also like, it's so much less men who come over to them,
right,
to Justin, that I think like, and there is something like, I don't know, just like a change, like having someone who's not your normal demographic come up to you does change the response, even though it shouldn't, because
right,
it's like, young girls are your bread and butter.
Yeah.
But
especially because, I'm older than both of them.
Well,
so
I think
like,
that's why they were just so relieved that like you came over with a non-manic energy.
Right. Yeah. And I was sitting next to them eating the whole time, so they know I wasn't a crazy person. And I also, to be honest, I was really hoping they'd be like, "Not tonight." And I'd be like, "Cool, don't worry about it." Like I was half hoping he would say no. But, they took, to their credit, he took a picture, and he was just so nice. He's like, "You got him, my man." He's like so warm, so kind to me. And I'm like, again, this is why you're famous besides your talent, because you know how to be nice to the fans. And then I was like, I think I apologized again for even asking, because I felt like such a fucking weird loser for asking. And then
the picture is nice, so I saw it. Like they look genuinely happy in it, and like
he's a little less.
Haley's like cute and like
she's
putting her
she
face
looks
in.
great.
Yeah,
because he was like, "Get in here, babe," because initially he was just going to be me and him, and I was like, I would like her in the picture too.
Right.
And then,
yeah.
And then but he kind of does. He's kind of doing like a straight like, "Help me." I can see a little "help me" eyes, behind it. But I don't know, the weird. And then it was just like this weird thing. And then I ended up just walking from Beverly Hills to West Hollywood after that, because I was like, did that just happen?
You have to digest it. Yeah.
I had to digest. And I was just I texted to Rosebud. She's like, "I'm dead. This is crazy. I can't believe it." But it's weird because as cool as it was, and they were very nice people, it just, the whole experience after like the first hour, it got very sad to me, because just watching them, I mean, I don't know how their relationship is, if they're fighting or anything, but like between how he looked, how little they were communicating, how I was just thinking about like the celebrity that they are. I mean, they're 2 of the most famous people on the planet. Mm-hmm. And to just not even like, they can't do anything anywhere without being either watched or asked for things and stuff like that. And then I felt part of the problem. So then I internalized that as, a weird
Yeah, you were,
guilt
but
thing.
it's okay.
Yeah. But it was all for this podcast. But they were great. If anyone's ever, all the rumors are true that they are very nice to their fans in person.
I know, because that's what happened. The problem, the same thing, like there was a weird energy when I met him. That's why I don't have a photo, because like the same thing, I just couldn't. And also the way I met him was through John Campanelli, and they knew each other through business, because Justin actually goes to John Campanelli's comedy shows in LA sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And so in that context, it felt like to play the long game of maybe Justin coming to a comedy show I do with Campanelli one day, I couldn't ask for a picture in that moment, because you have to play the long game. Right. I'm a big fan of playing the long game.
Yeah.
But because of that, I don't have pictures with like a lot of people that I would have liked pictures with. Of
course. Well, that's the thing too. You go, I kind of ran the numbers of being like, and plus like more than anything, I had Rosebud and my wife in my head kind of being like, just do it. But I was like, what are the odds that I'll ever be this close to these 2 people again without either them being mobbed, security, bodyguards, anything? There's a very small chance that I'll ever. I mean, it was nobody acknowledged that they were there. Not one person.
It's also less risk for you because not being a super fan, because like if he was mean to you, it wouldn't have like ruined your life.
No. And like I said, I was kind of hoping he would say no. He's like, not today, man. I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
But it was nerve wracking to be around those two for sure. Cause you could, again, just feel that like, yeah, but I hope he's doing okay.
You're also one of the few married people, and Christina and I have talked about this, like that seems genuinely happy in their long-term relationship. So I think you also probably, I think like celebrity or not, a lot of couples are like Justin and Haley, and maybe do spend long periods not talking to each other, irritated with one another,
right?
Texting side by side. And listen, it makes me just as sad to see, a Justin and Haley sitting side by side, not texting, as just a random couple in a diner. Like I see it all the time. I have a rule when I have a boyfriend that like during meals, like phones down, because it's so easy, especially like being a comedian, because we're running our businesses off our phones.
we can use that as an excuse to be like, I'm doing business stuff now.
It like hurts me. Like that was like a big, with 2 boyfriends ago, my comic boyfriend, like that was a big point of contention between us, that he was like always on his phone. Like that was like a big part of the reason I broke up. I'm like, you're always on your phone. Are you dating your phone?
If you can't put it down for meals, I mean, then what are we doing? You know what I mean?
It's crazy, especially like if it's a meal I cooked. I was like, I will burn you with a skillet.
Right. Yeah. But I told Rosebud that they that he rubbed my shoulder, and now she told me not to wash the shoulder because she's gonna. I think her words were, I'm going to eat it and digest it and then do something. Yeah, she said, say goodbye to shrugging. So I just want her level of psychosis to be documented.
Well, everyone who listens knows she's very unwell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's not a good sign when I'm the seemingly normal one on a podcast.
Right.
It's never a good sign. I love this. That was a great story. Okay, one question. Do you remember what footwear Justin was wearing?
Ooh.
He usually goes with like an Adidas sports slide or a hotel slipper. I just didn't know. Once again, he'll dress up and put a sneaker on for us.
I don't think it was slippers. I would have noticed slippers, so I'm going to say just like, nondescript, because it also wasn't flashy enough, because I always look at people's shoes, but maybe in this instance I was a little more enamored with the top half to focus on the shoe. I didn't get a good look at the shoes, but she was wearing like very like beautiful like heel type of thing.
Oh wow! Okay, so she was a little more dressed up, because she usually does do like a casual chic look.
Yeah,
that's kind of her thing. Yeah, Fleisure done up.
Yeah.
Alfred's panicking right now over something.
I don't know. Well, we've become friends, so it's not me.
No, it's fine. I think he just heard, Justin Bieber, and he goes, is that the son you love more? No, it's not. I love you the best. Okay, so you have some celebrities that you like. So number one, we were talking about Korn before we started recording.
Yes.
And you told me that...
I was a huge Korn fan, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. A lot of people...
I love Korn.
Yeah, a lot of people react to Korn like... it's that time they grew up. It's like, whatever. I'm 31, so like that was like the prime Korn, Limp Bizkit, those kind of like...
Fuck yeah.
New metal, I don't even know what they... Like rap, rock, whatever the hell they were called. That was my jam. Like I love that stuff. So
yeah.
Korn I got obsessed with, and especially their first 3 albums are like, I still think they're great. But I got Korn shaved into the back of my head.
How old were you?
Probably right around like when like Freak on a Leash came out. So I guess that was like, what was that? Like the early 2000s. So I was probably, I don't know, 12 or something like that around that time.
Oh my God. And where are you from?
Long Island.
Okay, so you're a little 12-year-old Mike Feeney in Long Island with Korn shaved in the back of his head.
Yeah, it was. I went to like some summer camp or something like that before. It was like before I was going to a new school. It was like this preschool camp thing, and people for the rest of the time I was in that school were like, "Oh, you're the Korn kid," because that's when they met me. Is when I had that shaved in the back of my head. So I was like, and then all of a sudden within a year it became like, if you like Korn, you're like it became like a joke to like Korn,
Oh, it was like the Dane Cook of bands.
Yes, exactly. Where they're like, Korn, ugh, they stink. And
I like Korn so much, and to this day,
yeah,
I really like them.
They rocked.
I mean, it became my masturbation soundtrack, to be honest. But that's just
that's a dark place to go because their lyrics are.
Well, I thought it was. I don't know. I mean, because I use Marilyn Manson sometimes, but then like that got too real. Cause like I'm like, well, after I met him, I was like, this might feel like I'm gonna start thinking he's like my boyfriend. Like I have a chance. But yeah, then like when I was dating someone who played with them, I thought it was like a nice way to honor my boyfriend.
Just during bass solos, you're like, yep.
Well, because it was kind of hot. Because I mean, like I like to masturbate to something like a little rocky, but like Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails is my favorite band, and that's too bleak for me.
I've never, but I also mean on the first album there's just a 17-minute there's a track of just him crying, Jonathan Davis.
I don't use that one. I use like a best of just give me the hits.
I've also never masturbated to music in my life. That's
really?
Very interesting that you can masturbate to. I would get too distracted by the music.
I need music just because I'm like living alone and I have a dog, and so it's just like, so I mean I can't hear like my dog licking his own crotch.
Right, yeah.
So I guess it's that. I just need like a little background.
That's fair.
A little background noise. I don't always require it,
Sure.
but because I'm also using my imagination, not porn.
Of course.
So,
you never go porn.
I do porn sometimes, and when I do porn, I don't do music, but just I prefer to use my imagination. Honestly, I'm not like a huge porn person,
right?
But I just thought that was information that you needed to know.
I just love that you have masturbated with corn on in the background. It's just such a because that just makes me like, I feel like that would make me want to just rock out.
I guess I could rock out on your clip.
I am, but I was such a big corn fan. But yeah, that was one of those things where I'm like, man, that's one of those things where if I had better parents, they probably would have intervened, but instead my mom was like, yeah, go for it, do it.
Well, it's funny because you are kind of like this very traditional, like clean cut white Americana boy, or seemingly so. I don't know how you were, and it's like it's just very funny to see you going in. Although I could see my little brother, who's 5 years younger than me, like he really liked like Weezer and 311.
Oh yeah,
and I could see him like having gone in with that shaved, something like that shaved in his head.
Yeah, I could see a 311 shaving back there for sure.
Fuck yeah, that would be so good to look like with the little underline thing.
Yeah, that would look sick. I was just such a big, I was so into music, and I was wearing, I only owned like XXL black band t-shirts until I met my wife, and she introduced that there was color
fitted tees,
and that I was a medium my whole life, not an XL. But it was a dark time.
Were you ever in a band yourself?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I was Long Island. What else did we do? Garage band.
God.
Of course. It was just, I was the drummer, so that's what I always played.
Cool.
I always wanted to be the singer, but I never had the.
Yeah.
That's why I eventually became a front man without anybody else on stage.
Fuck, same, man. If I could sing, I would not be a comedian.
If I could be a rock star, I'd give it all up right now. Just for that,
I always wanted to be Tia Carrere in Wayne's World. That was like who I wanted to be. So Asian, taller, big boobies, and dating a much less attractive comedian. So I have that part down. That part I nailed. Always doing that.
Yeah, I've always just was like obsessed with, I mean, even doing, and I was just talking about this recently, like doing the goddamn comedy jam, which was, even at Skankfest and stuff, when they bring everybody up at the end of the festival and they're playing Sweet Child of Mine, and you get to be on stage and you're yelling, and you just see that energy of, it's such a different energy of when there's a great comedy audience versus a great music audience, where they're like yelling the lyrics at you, and you're know what I mean, you're feeding off that. It's like, this has got to be such a high. What a drug. I've
already been like kind of prepping for if I do a Skankfest again, or I need to do a goddamn comedy jam song, because they were already like, you should like prepare one, because I'm not a bad singer, but it is like I'm not very scared of many things, but I am scared of singing publicly.
Of course,
because I want so badly to be great at it, and I'm only like passable.
Would you do Manson?
That's no, because I think it's like a little too expected. Yeah. I don't know what I would do though. I probably wouldn't do something like so hard rock. I'm not sure. Bare Naked Ladies I'm great at, because I'm really good at talking fast.
Right.
But I don't know. I have to see. I'll think and I'll prepare something.
Good. Yeah, because you got to. That's the other thing. It's just like a karaoke thing. You got to. It's not even about what you can do. It's about what you think will pump up the audience. You know what I mean? I told them I want to do like a Rick Astley song. just Rickroll the crowd.
Fuck yes.
I can get that deep. Like, we're no strangers to love.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I think an unexpected turn.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe I'll do Korn instead.
Oh my God. To corn. And then you just see me masturbating in the background. You're like, what is happening here?
Corinne's like, sorry, sorry, it's a Pavlovian thing.
Fuck, she can't stop. She can't stop. Well, I mean, that's true. Oh, we could talk briefly because we were both at the same concert this week.
Yes.
We both, just a few days ago, went to see Tool at the Barclays Center. We were not there together.
Nope.
I learned later, via the magic of Instagram that you were there.
Yeah.
With James Mattern, who I have now very publicly had sex with.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about that.
Well, he was on Guys We Fucked, so it's not even no need to beat around the bush.
Gotcha. Well, good for both of you.
For many years, yeah, on and off. Oh my goodness, Alfred's just climbing into your lap.
He's a new fan.
This is the time when he goes, I need more attention.
Yeah. Literally, yeah, good timing.
but yeah, so I mean, I'm just now recovering because I was on mushrooms and it was an amazing trip.
I'm so jealous that I didn't.
I feel bad that you weren't on mushrooms now.
I was talked out of it by a certain comedian, and now I regret it.
Yeah, I know. Well, because like I said, like I thought they were trying to prank me and Christina as like, because we're like the girls, and I thought they were trying to prank us. Well, number one, anytime I hang out with the Legion of Skanks guys, I truly think they're always trying to prank us, and I never fully trust it because I just think it's like could be the longest running prank of all time.
I understand. Yeah, there's some trepidation there. I could see that.
And they know that.
Right.
They know that. So who knows? But I took mushrooms and that was the main reason I wanted to go to that concert.
Sure. I just wanted to see them live because everyone that's a Tool fan is like, it's a life-changing experience. They're so good live. And they were great live, but I think I could have done mushrooms and been fine.
Oh, well, it's so funny because apparently one of their kids came out at the end. I didn't even remember this.
I saw that. Yeah.
There was a long pause and I'm like, was there an intermission or was that between the encore and the regular concert?
The kid came out after the encore and there was that 13-minute break was before the encore, but after the last song, I think.
What was the 13-minute break for?
That was just like them being like, that's the end of our show, but we're for sure doing an encore, and here's exactly when we're going to do it. Which is funny because my friend who I met at the bar before the show was like, yeah, they're going to come, they're going to play, they're going to come on at 8:45, they're going to play till 10:30, then they're going to take a 13-minute break, and then they're going to play till 11. And I was like, 13 minutes, it's a weirdly specific time. And then, of course, when they got off stage, that 13 minutes was counting down. So you're like, all right, I don't know why that long of a break, but I guess they just wanted to.
Because it was so wild being on mushrooms to sit amongst people during a 13-minute break.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like. It almost felt like we were just deserted, but then like no one was exiting, so you knew that we were supposed to be there. It was just it was a lot of wild stuff going on. I mean, and I've done mushrooms and acid and DMT, and this was by far the wildest trip of my life. But super positive.
I've never gone to a concert on mushrooms. I've only done them and been introspective, been with friends, kind of. I just feel like that's a lot of sensory.
I thought it would be too, and it's so funny because that's what everyone said, and not. And I hate people, and not for 1 second did I ever consider the thousands and thousands of other people that would be with me at Barclays. I was just concerned with the group of 12 comics that I was going with, and I situated it so that I was sitting by people who I knew better than others.
Right.
So Christina and I, being two of the there was only 3 women there total in the group, so we just the men didn't even know. We just basically controlled where everyone was sitting without them knowing.
Of course, yeah.
And we nailed it.
No guy has ever considered where to sit.
We had a whole plan of where everyone was sitting.
Hilarious.
I gave her a list. I gave her a short list of people that would be acceptable for me to sit near, and she stole the tickets out of Big J's pocket as a prank, and then distributed them by number. No one questioned
Amazing.
it. No one questioned it.
Amazing.
And I go, but Christina, I was like, you're taking into account. You think that these people are going to are organized enough to refer to the numbers on the tickets and sit and not just say, okay, these are the allotted seats that we have.
That's true.
We're just going to sit in this row.
That is true. Yeah, we tried to. Justin was actually trying to. Justin Sever was trying to get us to sneak down there with you guys because we were up in the working class section, not in the.
I know. I feel bad. I didn't know because we could have definitely gotten you tickets with us.
Well, that was the thing too, where we go, because we had bought tickets when it was a whole long story about that, but we ended up getting screwed out of the tickets we were going to get, so we ended up in these nosebleed things, but which was fine. It was still a great show, but we thought they were digital tickets. I was like, dude, just send me a screenshot shot. We'll just use them to get through security. And then he was like, they're physical tickets. So then we were doing this whole thing of like, maybe if you come out with a couple of tickets, go to the bathroom, slide them to us, we'll give them back. But then people were just like, it's packed down here. There's like 4 security checkpoints. And I was like, forget the whole thing. And then plus everyone at that point was just on so many drugs that nobody was like, in their phone paying attention.
Oh, and everyone was on a different set of drugs because like we tried to do it as a team, like drugs as a team, but then everyone wanted, so there was people on coke, there was people on Molly, there was people on mushrooms.
Yeah.
And there was just people who were weed, there were people who were drunk. This is so much.
It's a real hodgepodge of degenerates. Yeah.
I think I probably had the most whimsical time out of anyone, but
it was great. It was a great show.
I don't think anyone had a bad time.
I think that they purposely, I mean, the lead singer, he's a very weird dude. He's very eccentric. I understand his thing about being like
Maynard.
Yeah, Maynard. He's just he's one of those guys where he tries to be so not pretentious that he is pretentious, where he like, he never comes to the front of the stage. He sings in the back where he's lined up with the drummer either on the left or right side because he's like, I don't want to steal the shine from the band. I want them to be front and center and I'll just be in the back. And his vocals were like a little lower than the music was and stuff. And you're like, yeah, but even then it's like you're still on 2 elevated platforms and you're walking back and forth. So our eyes are going to go to you if you're singing.
And you also like dress like you're like working at the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. What are you doing?
He's a little out there, but I mean, great singer, great concert. And I understand why people love Tool so much.
Right. And the light show is spectacular.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
Half
the time I was like, look, I like the good thing about Barclays is like I looked at the ceiling a lot.
The thing about mushrooms, no one ever really like, everyone's like, oh, you get introspective, you think about stuff. But there is that like almost Molly dopamine rush of like love and energy where you're like, yes, and you're great.
I laugh a lot.
Love the laughing.
I laugh a lot. And the woman in front of me reminded me so much of my mom. And I couldn't stop laughing. And I kept writing like dialogue for her.
Oh, I love that.
Because she definitely wasn't on drugs and was definitely very annoyed that everyone else was on drugs. But
sure.
It's like, Tool is basically like going to a Fish concert. Like everyone's going to be on drugs and like you just have to deal with it. And if you don't like it, get the DVD, I suppose.
Yeah.
But like she was just sitting so prim and proper and I could tell like the dialogue in her head was just like, I just love the music of Tool.
Yeah, I just
like she's like, I'm just here because I love the music of Tool.
I just want to hear Schism. Yeah.
It was just like really funny to me.
Yeah.
I just like there was only certain people I could look at because some people I just found to be very distracting.
For sure.
But yeah, and then there was like this woman in front of me, not the mom character, but this like she had I don't know, just like a haircut that said, I'm still hurting from my childhood. Right. And I saw like anger coming out of her. Like it's almost like I just saw everyone's kind of like path and mood.
Yeah, it's like they were wearing wild. A mood ring, but you could see what their mood ring energy was.
I think it was like by far like the fullest trip I ever had because I'm always afraid to fully trip because I don't want to like, it's more like I'm not worried about me and my relationship with myself. I'm worried about like hating people more and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I get really scared about.
Well, mushrooms is great for, I feel like, opening you up to that.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I hate to be one of these like Tool / mushroom people. I mean, I went home and I was like looking at all these psychedelic websites and like sharing psychedelic art. I'm like, I mean, I just on social media was having a real day yesterday. And I apologize to my followers. I go, I know I'm that person today, but I can't help it.
Well, now at least I have context and know why. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just, and, nor do I encourage people to use psychedelics, irresponsibly.
Sure.
Or sometimes I don't even think that it's something maybe to do until your late 20s, early 30s.
Oh, yeah.
But... you know yourself, hopefully.
Yeah, when you're ready for it, it's...
when you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
Well, also, as someone with obsessive compulsive disorder, it's time and time again recommended for people with OCD to help.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's getting recommended for more health things, as people go.
And I understand that because it does help get out of your head. The only thing is, though, I still have tics even within psychedelics, and sometimes I'll get even stuck in tics. Like with acid, I had a spasm in my shoulder for 8 hours
No
once.
way.
Yeah.
I've never. I got too gun shy with acid. I took a little bit at Skankfest, but I was like, I don't want to. I don't know what this is gonna do, and I don't want to be fully exposed around all of those fans and people who are like, "Hey, Mike," and they're like so close to you.
Tight space too.
Tight space. Also, like other comics that I look up to. I don't want to be like, "Oh man," like
True.
So, but yeah, it's. I can only imagine a full. Fully letting go in those situations, it can be, terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I did Molly at Skankfest, and pretty much as soon as it hit, I go, I need to go outside.
Yeah.
And then me and Christina just literally walked all night. We walked to Brooklyn.
No way.
To Williamsburg, my old apartment. Like we were in there, but we walked to Long Island City and then to Williamsburg.
Oh my God.
Because we were in, I don't know what part of Brooklyn that was in, but it was not Williamsburg.
Greenpoint, maybe?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know. We just walked. Yeah, because we walked to my old apartment where we had started, Sorry About Last Night, which is the umbrella for guys we fucked. And we were like, isn't this beautiful?
Yeah. You really, memory lane.
Nice.
You've really been in touch with your emotions this last, I guess that Skankfest was a while ago. I was going to say, it's been a fun few months for you then.
I really need, a lot of crazy stuff happened this year. So I really did need to get in touch with my emotions.
Fair enough.
It's good. So speaking of getting in touch with your emotions, and we can end on this, you told me that your favorite celebrity, the guy that you stand for, is none other than Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, it's almost. I don't know if that's hack, but I mean, I've loved him since.
Not for a straight man.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Yeah, he's my go gay guy, and he's just,
Would you make out with him?
100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever made out with a man?
No.
Okay, but him you would.
Yeah, I think he could talk me into it pretty easily. You know what I mean?
That's how I feel like about old school Rose McGowan.
Fair. Yeah, if I was like on his boat or something like that and we're in St. Bart's, I'm like, I'm gonna do what he wants. You know what I mean?
Right.
But no, he's just
I like that it's a situation where you guys are traveling together and he's coercing you into it.
He's like, have a drink, and then he's like, have you ever kissed a man? And I'm like, no, why? It's a weird question. He's like, well, I mean, I'm happily with, these supermodels and you're happily married, but I mean, a story's a story, and then and then we lock eyes and the rest is history, I guess. But no, I mean, I've loved all of his work, and then I waited on him one time when I was at a restaurant. It was my first restaurant gig, my first restaurant job ever, which was in one of the busiest outdoor seating sections in New York City. It had 300 outdoor seats. It was down by the financial center, and I had lied and said I had like 6 years of high volume restaurant experience to get the job. I had none, and all the places had conveniently closed or gone out of business, or just where their phone lines were disconnected, so they couldn't check any of the references. They gave me the job, and I remember on my first day, I'm in the weeds. I'm so busy, and I'm running around, and as I'm like sweating and running, it was a heavy lunch rush. The hostess came up to me and she's like, you have a VIP in your section, which I assumed was like one of the owners or something like that, like trying to sit in on me. So now I'm panicking and worrying, and I like run over to the table, and I think I audibly gasped when I got up to him, because I think I had just watched like The Aviator, A Body of Lies, or one of his films I just watched like the night before.
Oh,
and
my
then
goodness.
Here he is with like aviators, and he's got a hoodie up to try and be like low profile, and he's got his mom and a cute little dog like Alfred, just a cute little thing with it, and he's just and his voice too, it's one of those, he speaks and you're like, that's you, like you can it's the same with the Justin Bieber voice. There's some people have that voice where you're like, this is operating on a different vocal level. Like, I don't know, it's just you're just famous.
Like,
I don't
your
know.
voice actually sounds better.
Yeah, your voice sounds famous.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
But so he was so nice, and I didn't fanboy. I mean, if there's ever somebody I wanted to get a picture of, and this was also, I was like 6 months into comedy, so I didn't have like the business sense to be like, well, we might run into each other. But I was very much like, I think I said something quick like, hey, I love your work. What can I get for you? It was very professional.
That's nice, yeah.
And
I think that's better than like just like fucking serving Leonardo DiCaprio and pretending that you don't know it's him or not acknowledging it.
Exactly. And he was so nice, and he was like, which is amazing. It's all I ever wanted. He was so super cool. He ordered the tortilla soup, and his mom got a bunch of stuff.
I like that you remember what he ordered. That's
I remember.
Very sweet.
He left a 50 or 60% tip, which was nice. He used a fake, or not a fake, but it was a different name on the credit card to pay for it. which was some. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it could just. I've said the name on this credit card so many times, so I'll just keep saying it. But the name on it said TL Birkenstein, which is like such a comedically, like, wildly different name from his thing. Where I'm like, who are you pretending to be? But now I'm like, maybe that was just like his agent or someone that had like a credit card that they, like a company card. I don't know. It
sounds like a company. Well, is Leonardo DiCaprio's real name Leonardo DiCaprio?
I don't know. If it isn't, I don't want to know because that would hurt, you know?
Okay, yeah.
But
it just seems like, I mean, if you're Leonardo DiCaprio and you are like you're like an electrician, that's too much.
Right. Yes, that's a lot. Yeah. I think I also think, do you think a good child name, if I had a kid, would be Leonardo? Because if my wife's Italian, so if I do an Italian-Irish thing, Leonardo Feeny, that's too much. It's too much.
Well, Leo Feeny is cute. Leonardo's a little much, but I think just go by Leo. If you would like the name Leo, because I think you always have to think about the nickname and if you're doing a larger name and if you like that nickname. So if you are happy and content with Leo, I think Leo is a super cute name.
Yeah, that's a good name. Well, they'll probably get it. But no, it was just super cool. And it was one of those things where I go like, this is a great, that was probably the last time I met a celebrity in New York was when I was, 2008 or 2009, maybe that was or something. So, but ever since then, I'm like, anytime anybody talks about Leo, I'll defend him to the death, him and his dad bod and his, dating young supermodels and whatnot. The guy's, he's aging terribly, but goddamn, he's still.
Oh, is he? I have to look at a picture.
He's just like, dad bod is generous. He gets in between roles. He gets real wide and real puffy, but it's because he's having a great time.
Exactly.
He's partying. He's drinking. He's enjoying. He's indulging.
And with men, he's gonna get the hottest chick anyway.
Yes.
So it's like if you're gonna get to fuck the hottest chick, whether or not you're enjoying yourself, just enjoy yourself. If I was a man, I would look like Seth Rogen immediately.
Yeah, he just is like,
everyone knows this. Yeah. Sometimes I look like Seth Rogen and I'm a girl.
Yeah, and sometimes you just go like, you don't need to, you always hear Ryan Reynolds and all these people that talk about when they were in, the iconic body weight where they were 3% body fat and just ripped. They're all like, it was the most miserable time of my life. It's 3 a days in the gym for 6 months and you can't eat anything or you're miserable. So you're like, this is, I like a little let shit go in between roles, And
I gotta tell you, even as a woman in the entertainment business, last year was the fattest I've ever been in my adult life due to a medical issue. It has since been fixed, but it will just I don't, because I am insecure about people thinking that I was lazy. And because I hate laziness, it's like my pet peeve. So that's why I always like to say that. It's not because it's not like I hate fat people. Right. Just for me, I know I didn't need to look like that, and that's why it was literally consuming my thoughts for a year.
Wow.
Anyway, but you would think it made a difference career-wise as far as like the auditions I get called in, and I fucking knew that, and people were trying to play around like it wasn't. I go, listen, I've been fucking in the entertainment business since I was 17, both behind the scenes as a manager and as in front of the camera as talent, and I was like, I fucking guarantee you. And that was the part that made me the most aggravated. People pretending that it's, we're like, no, we're 2019, we're body positive now. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You're saying you're body positive and then fucking over people with roles. Immediately, literally January 2019, immediately first thing I did this year was shoot a pilot, and I was like, yeah, because the weight had just come off. I go, coincidence? I think not.
Right. Yeah. We definitely have Lizzo now. We're very body positive, and you're like, that doesn't
exactly. So it was just a little bullshit. And listen, there are actors who are making this happen. Like Mindy Kaling is a great example. However, that's not the fight I'm trying to fight.
No.
I'm fighting the stop raping fight and the LGBTQ right. Those are my fights.
A worthy fight.
Okay, and someone else can do the body positive one. That one's not for me. I'm not on board with that one. So anyway, but I still got the hottest people I've ever slept with. I got when I was the heaviest. So I was like, maybe there is something to, having a personality.
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot to that.
As women, you're convinced not that it's not that big of a deal, and sometimes can even hinder you. Certainly being funny, and that can hinder you because it's like too much opinions.
Yeah, right. Well, and this is such a, I think a known thing, but I forgot where I was reading this recently that, the whole idea of like a supermodel and all that stuff, how that came to be was because a lot of these like French designers and stuff, fashion designers just wanted to like cut costs on fabric.
Oh my God, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so they used to, models in, again, Marilyn Monroe times, they were more like,
voluptuous.
They were, yes, exactly,
Yeah.
voluptuous, great word. And they were using that, and then like all these designers were like, well, we're going to use less because it's cheaper, and so they just found super skinny women, and then just started doing that, and then that kind of took over, and then all of a sudden it became like this thinner is better, and gave 5 generations of women body dysmorphia and eating disorders because they're holding it. They think that this was like men want this standard, but like
right.
Men have always been. You'll never find me a man who would be like, I would rather sleep with a Victoria's Secret supermodel over. I'm trying to think of somebody who's like not as like. The skinny 6'5", like runway
Ashley Graham
model
is like to me one of the most beautiful models.
Sure, yeah.
And she's also, the thing about that is like she also has perfect dimensions. But like I would always rather date someone. I'm straight, but even if I was to date a woman or a man, overweight than underweight, always.
Yeah, I mean it's
always.
Just yeah. I mean it's like there's obviously like degrees to everything, but it's just such a wild thing where you go like that's crazy that the people that are in charge of just the fabrics and the magazines curated this whole and somehow got away with this whole idea of like this is what men want. It's like men never said that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's funny is like the fashion designers were mostly like gay men too, so they were just being like
that was what I was going to bring into it because I was like that's a common thing that's brought up. It's like it's like gay men who just want to be like that will have these like waifish like almost androgynous woman boy types around.
And even the men too are usually like some are like these giant chiseled gods, but others are just kind of like that very like the French or like a lot of like Spanish men are very just kind of like loose and flowy,
loose.
Yeah,
smoking a Virginia Slim, eating a baguette. Yeah, it's strange.
exactly.
I get it.
Women try not to be so hard on yourself. There's everybody, all shapes and sizes. We love everybody.
This is Mike Feeeney. He represents Men Across America.
And
that's
only for the good stuff. The bad stuff is
if anything about the Me Too movement, that's not.
No.
Through Mike, that doesn't go through
him.
I'm
a married man and, all of that stuff. But I'm so happy I've been in a long-term relationship that really gets... I don't know what would have happened in my early 20s with online... or mid-20s with online dating and stuff, but that was... good thing. I really dodged a bullet with those people out there. But also, if you're just not a piece of shit person, I think you're... Anyway... It's been great. This has been fun.
I love it. Where can we find you?
You can find me social media, Instagram, Twitter at I am Mike Feeeney, MikeFeeneyComedy.com. My debut album just came out, Rage Against the Routine.
Congrats.
Thank you. And I have a podcast, Irish Goodbye, storytelling podcast. So
is that on the Gas Digital Network?
It's on the Gas Digital Network. Check that out.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story.
Thank you for letting me share my truth
with us here on Two Less Lonely Girls. You guys can follow me at Philanthropy Gal on all social media. Remember, if you have tips for the podcast, just hashtag TLLG tips, or you can DM. If you do me and Rosebud together, we're more likely to see it. Rosebud is at Rosebud Baker. Our producer, Mike Coscarelli, is at Mike Coscarelli. Some shows will be upcoming. I'll be in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Los Angeles, California, end of December. So just look out for those. That's going to be like December 27th through the 31st. Just look at my Instagram. I'll post the direct links and everything there. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will talk to you next Monday.